Hello, everybody, and welcome to GOMAD 8. It is super exciting to have everybody here. I think I have the privilege to say welcome to GOMAD 8 because I have been part of the GOMAD speaking faculty from GOMAD 1, and this is GOMAD 8. There is nothing as beautiful as seeing a vision that started just a couple of years ago, but it has grown to become a movement, a phenomenon, and something so powerful across the country. And of course, this is GOMAD 8, and it is happening at a very interesting period as far as the marketplace is concerned, as far as the economy is concerned, and as far as the global landscape is concerned. And of course, the theme for this year is very important and, of course, well designed to fit the times, and, of course, where we are going to as professionals and entrepreneurs. Of course, if you are here at GOMAD, you are either a professional who desires to make a difference in your industry, or you are a professional an entrepreneur who desires to build an incredible business that will definitely contribute to the society as a whole, and of course bring change in the world as a person. I want to take time again to celebrate especially Javnyuy Joybert and the wife for going through thick and thin to put these incredible events together. It takes a lot of hard work, commitment, and of course resources to make this work. And when Gottlieb reached out to me to speak on this, of course I was supposed to be on site. I was supposed to be physically on site for GOMAD 8, but because of travel schedules, I am not able to make it. I have an event in London on the same date that GOMAD is happening, so I'm basically on and off the country. And the society is changing, and I'm talking about navigating marketplace turbulence and volatility. And this is very important. You know, I was just thinking about the work I have done as a consultant since 2020 and now. And by God's grace, I've been able to work with companies on site in 20 countries and counting, and in 37 countries through virtual consulting and platforms here and there, and done work with the African Development Bank, with the Obama Foundation, work on a couple of projects with the White House funded projects back in Africa, and done work here and there from Lagos, Nigeria, to Nairobi, Kenya, to Johannesburg, South Africa, with different companies here and there and CEOs. And I will tell you that the world has greatly evolved between 2020 and 2023. In 2020, we were working with companies and professionals to help them navigate the COVID-19 turbulence. And before we knew it, AI has taken 2023 in a way that many people did not anticipate. A couple of months ago, the Ukraine-Russia war started. People did not anticipate how this will affect the global economy, including Cameroon and the rest of Africa. This year, people are anticipating, experts are anticipating high inflation and recession. And of course, you must have noticed that the rate of inflation in Cameroon is crazy, which has even prompted the government to even go the extra mile to increase prices on a couple of things. A lot of things are happening right now. And all of these are part of the marketplace turbulences and volatility. But then, what can we as professionals begin to do? What can entrepreneurs pay attention to? What should we do and not do as far as taking advantage of the marketplace is concerned? The good news is that despite the changes in the marketplace, despite these turbulences, despite this volatility happening here and there, We as human beings, we as people who have decided to be resourceful and to tap into our potentials and intelligence and to make a difference, we can take advantage despite the turbulences. You know, when you read about the eagle, you will understand that one of the things that enables the eagles to display his or her strength is when the storms come. When the storm comes, eagle displays how strong and how tenacious they are, but the other birds run away. And we are here at GOMAD so that we can build our capacity, build our mindset, upgrade our skill set, upgrade our capabilities, so we can take advantage of the marketplace turbulences and, of course, the volatility. So, what can we do as a people? What can we do to take advantage of all of this? Now, I'll be talking about the building blocks. I prefer to use the word the building blocks because in the midst of turbulence and volatility, it is very important for entrepreneurs and professionals to understand the various building blocks they can put into play to begin to experience a different kind of lifestyle as a people. The first building block I would challenge you to do is make sure that you are upskilling and reskilling. Yes, make sure you are upskilling and reskilling. For some people, you need to totally upskill. For some other people, you need to reskill. What does it mean to upskill? It means that, for example, if you had a BSc in accounting, you need to start upskilling to understand how you can use artificial intelligence and become a better accountant. You need to upskill. Some people need to reskill. Some people need to transition, and I'll be talking about that. Transition into another industry, and for you to actually win in that industry, you need to totally reskill yourself and develop new skills. Pay attention to where you are right now in life and make sure that you do what you need to do to rise to the top. Number two is, before I go to number two, I want us to understand this. I made a point here and I said that technology is no longer a nice to know. It has become a must have. We have passed that dispensation where technology is a nice to know. I like to say something that if you are 18 years and above and you don't have a laptop of your own, I believe you are doing yourself a disservice. And it's not just about having the laptop, it is about knowing how to take advantage of that particular laptop. It is your responsibility to acquire new capabilities and, most importantly, lead and enable consistent change in what you do. Point number two, do your best to make people, especially in your industry, to see you as a person of talent and skill. For you to survive in the present dispensation where there is a lot of turbulence and volatility, it is your responsibility to make sure that the people in your industry see you as a person of talent and skill. Let me tell you, in the midst of turbulence and volatility, people will still have problems and they will need professionals to solve them. In the midst of turbulence, companies will still be operating, but they will not desire average professionals and mediocre people. They will need to look for people who can help them navigate and move through this particular turbulence. So if you are good at something, it is your responsibility to master the art of personal branding. Let me tell you, there have been a lot of talk about personal branding, but from now henceforth to the next 30 years, people who don't understand how the game of personal branding operates, they will find difficulties. They'll find it difficult to position themselves in the industry. Invest in your personal brand. And not only that, make sure that you are so positioning yourself in a way that people in your industry can recognize you, can see you, and desire to work with you because they see talent and the relevant skills in you. Intentionally invest in that. Number three, I'll talk about Power up your conversational skills. Yes, power up your conversational skills. You need to invest in making sure that you have the ability to drive intelligent conversation in your industry. I like to call it conversational intelligence. For you to navigate the marketplace turbulence and volatility, you need to become that professional. When you open your mouth to talk about your industry, you make sense. Conversational skills are very powerful. Robots are coming. AI is coming. Machine learning is coming. But let me tell you, these things still remain machines. But the people that can drive the right conversations between human beings will consistently remain relevant. And apart from that, when you have the ability to drive intelligent conversations, you can be able to contribute to the economy, and you can contribute to the stakeholders who are in the economy, and they will find you relevant. There are many people that if you give them 30 minutes, you give them 10 minutes, 15 minutes to open their mouth and talk, they will not make sense consistently for 10 minutes in their own industry. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you. Please upgrade your ability to communicate. Upgrade your ability to drive conversational skills, conversational intelligence around the work you do. If they put you on television right now, they put you on a podcast, they put you on a radio show, they put you on a TV show right now, and you will be interviewed for 30 minutes to 1 hour, can you drive an intelligent conversation around the core topics in your industry that people will listen to you and not take off their eyes from you? This is one of the ways to navigate marketplace turbulence and volatility, because people will be seeking for wisdom. I always say something funny, and this works the same way for many professionals. The only reason I travel the world is because people want to hear what I have to say. And it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, commitment, and the willingness to pay the price to master your industry. And not only that, to break it down and drive the right conversation. Please invest in that. Number 4, the fourth block that you need to master is know when to do the transition. Know when to do the transition. I said here that impact transitions require leadership and collaboration. Now, what do I mean by knowing when to do the transition? There are some people that you will have to transition from one industry to another. There are some people that for you to adapt and remain relevant in a marketplace that is driven by turbulence and volatility, you need to know when to do the transition. For example, if you read translation in school, you need to start thinking of how you can transition to another industry. Apps are replacing you. AI is replacing you. There are many phones right now, when you start talking, you can speak in English and they translate audibly in French or in Chinese, in Mandarin, in a better way than a human being. In many countries right now, nobody hires a human translator. So if you read translation in school, you need to start thinking of how you can transition from that industry, from that career to another industry. Even for entrepreneurs. Some entrepreneurs need to start learning how they can retailor their business models and transition to industries, because we are in a dispensation where some industries will die out and new industries will be born. And many people are not ready for that conversation. Many people are not ready for this conversation. You know, I am a researcher and I write a lot about the future of work and advise companies across the world and executives on what they should anticipate. And I work with other professionals for us to see how we can make this happen. And these things are coming. So understanding when to do the transition is important. And please don't say that you're in Cameroon. No, you are not in Cameroon. And we are now in a dispensation where anything can hit you from anywhere. When COVID-19 started in China, many people thought that in Africa it's not going to meet us, but it did meet us, and we are still going through the troubles of COVID-19 at the moment. When the war in Ukraine started, many people said, it's not going to meet us, but here we are, recession and inflation, which is global, is going to affect everybody. Technology is going to affect everybody. So you need to start making sure that you're paying close attention. Will you need to transition from your current career to a better one? Will you need to transition and innovate your business model to begin to adapt to the needs of the people? Because when there's change, it affects what people desire to get. It affects the expectation of the people. Big, small, middle class, upper class, lower class, everybody is changing. And when you're building a career and a business, don't only use the present demographics to make decisions. Think about 5 years from now. Think about 10 years from now, especially if you are 45 years and below. And most especially if you are 35 years and below. You need to make sure that you're thinking 5, 10, 15, 30 years from now. It's very important for you. Let me tell you, see these things I'm telling you? Few years from now, you will remember this talk. And you will, I wish I went straight to work. I want to challenge somebody. Please go straight to work. Go straight to work. Block number 5, pay attention. Pay attention to connections across different disciplines and thematic areas. Please follow me here very carefully. For you to navigate marketplace turbulence and volatility, one of the blocks that you need to carefully navigate this is your ability to pay attention to connections across different disciplines and thematic areas. For example, I was talking to a young man who he came to me and said he wants to learn graphic designing. I said, oh, that is good. But hey, you need to go further than graphic design. Now there are AIs, there are platforms that you type in words, you describe what, like for example, in the US right now, many graphic designers are losing their jobs. Do you know why? There are AI platforms right now you can describe. Please, like you transfer a picture on that platform and then you can type, please do me a graphic design with flyer with me by the beach, and write the photo. You just describe the colors you want, how you want the flyer to look like, and press enter. In 2 minutes or less, the platform produces the flyer better than any human being can do. But hey, here's where I'm taking us in this block number 5. Pay attention to connections across different disciplines and industries. If I'm a graphic designer right now, I will need to look at how does the graphic design discipline connect with another discipline. So if you're a graphic designer right now, you need to go a step further and learn how to build personal brand. Learn how you can become a brand strategist. You can take it a step further. Learn how you can write beautiful content. So instead of just being a graphic designer, you can become a corporate brand strategist. You get the point? If you run a law firm or you are a lawyer right now, you need to start looking, how can you merge your legal field with education, healthcare, fintech, health tech here and there? It's your responsibility to pay attention. Pay attention to the connections across different disciplines and merge them together. Number 6, the 6th block that you need to navigate this marketplace turbulence and volatility. Conduct knowledge, skill, and tools gaps analysis and take steps to bridge the gaps. Yes, hear me and hear me very well. Look at where you're going. Look at where you are right now. What is the knowledge gap that you need to fill? What is the skill gap that you need to fill? What are the tools that you need to acquire? With knowledge gap, so big around you, you will find it difficult to navigate this marketplace. You have a lot of large skill gap. You need to upgrade, upskilling and reskilling. If you lack the right tools, there are some industries that until you have the right tools and understand how to use these tools, you will totally struggle in that industry. And it is your responsibility to conduct a proper knowledge, skill, and tools gap. Know where you are, know the gap that exists, and take steps to fill those gaps. Acquire the knowledge, acquire the skills, acquire the tools, and learn how to deploy all of these things that you have acquired. And lastly, block number 7, develop a fact-based and data-driven monitoring and evaluation process. We are passing that dispensation where you make decisions from the place of assumptions or from the place of what people just say and opinions. You need to go deeper. You're about to enter a business. There are some people right now, they will enter businesses based on what they observe other people doing and not knowing that in 2-3 years from now or 5 years from now, that industry will be chopped off by technology. So don't just make decisions. Make sure that your decisions are fact-based and data-driven based. So you don't invest money in something and 2 years later, you have not even break even, but yet you're struggling because the industry is phasing out. Even some jobs, you don't invest years, parents. This has gone beyond the dispensation where you can just sit and assume, oh, let my child go and study accounting. No, you need to go beyond that before you begin to advise your child on which career path to pick up, because things are changing. Things are changing. Having the right data and facts in place before you make the right decision becomes very critical in this dispensation. And of course, be agile, be ready to adapt, and be dynamic enough to take advantage of opportunities and even go through difficulties. In conclusion, as I always like to say, growth does not happen by guesswork. It takes intentionality. You are not going to thrive. See, I keep saying this. Between now until Jesus Christ will come, guesswork no longer works. Doing things out of assumptions and excitement or anyhow no longer works. But in this dispensation, if you are not intentional, you are not strategic, you are not focused, you are not driven in the right direction and seeking the right knowledge and wisdom and tools and resources and connecting yourself in the right community so you understand what is happening and not happening, many people will be left behind because the world will surprise them. My team is in GOMAD right now. The people that work with me at my company, Costef Group, I run operations in 4 countries with employees, 17 employees at the moment, scattered in 4 countries. The people in Douala are just a part of what we do. And I always tell them, and that's why they are in GOMAD right now. The company paid for their fee. And that's what we do. It's a tradition. We'll do our best to pay for them to attend programs and upgrade and develop themselves. But I always tell them, do your best. There are 2 things that will happen. Either you grow with the company or the company outgrows you. And when the company outgrows you as a professional, you become irrelevant. And when you are irrelevant, you will be sacked. And we will recruit somebody who can get the job done. It is the same for everybody listening to me right now. This is one thing that marketplace turbulence and volatility will do to many people. Many people who are not intentional may lose their jobs. Entrepreneurs will lose their companies to competitors. For entrepreneurs, 2 things will happen. Either you grow with your industry, or your industry outgrows you. And it is your responsibility to make sure that you're growing with the industry. I challenge you and I encourage you. You have the capabilities, you have the investment in you, You have the mindset, you have the heart, you have everything in you that God invested in you to make it through any season. Any season. You just need to wake up and pay attention to this. God bless you. Have a great event. And remember, you are rare, you're remarkable. Cheers.